Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. Jeremy Geelan for Syscon TV. Here, as you can see behind me at 7th Cloud Expo. This is Cloud Expo Silicon Valley. We have Bob Breckner with us. He's with a data sales company, if I'm not mistaken, Bob.
That's correct. Bob Breckner, Vice President of Equipment Leasing at Data Sales Company. What Data Sales is a full-service IT equipment hardware leasing company. We've been in business for almost 40 years. We provide an IT equipment asset-backed lease to the cloud computing industry.
So it's a curious thing, isn't it? People forget that the cloud just isn't out there on the ether. It's running on something, and you've helped supply that something.
Absolutely. The cloud computing industry is growing in leaps and bounds. There's an immense amount of growth to it. What we provide is an alternate acquisition strategy. Many of the cloud computing companies need to acquire the technology hardware to fulfill these growth needs through their daily cash flow, through their lines of credit, or worst case scenario, have to give up part of their equity in their company to produce the financing to get the capital to grow. What the data sales equipment lease does is allow them to grow and meet their needs in the equipment acquisition arena without having to give up part of the company through either stock options, warrants, or equity that a private equity company would want to have.
Now, I'm sure you've been told this before. This is obviously too good to be true. There's some terrible catch, and you couldn't possibly be able to name clients that are all around us of these huge companies that have started with you, could you?
Absolutely. There's several companies here that are current customers of ours or have been in the past that have used us to grow. I don't want to go into naming them, but there's probably a dozen here that we've started, and where we really play is in the emerging growth phase of the company. When they're first starting out, when they need that capital to grow, to get to that point to where they can get traditional bank sourcing. Data Sales Company has come from the IT equipment hardware background. We understand the technology equipment. We've been doing equipment leasing for over 30 years. With the understanding of the technology hardware, the understanding of the leasing business, along with being bullish on this sector of the business, allows us to provide a unique offering to the web hosting and to the cloud computing industry where traditional financing through the bank or traditional lessors may not be available.
Now, you talk about, being bullish, and here you are at Cloud Expo, so that's pretty bullish in itself. I believe you're the only finance player here.
Yes, I'm not aware of anybody else that's here that does the financing or that plays in the niche area that we do. So it's kind of nice to be here. We got kind of a target-rich environment.
Target-rich environment, I like that. Well, good luck with hitting the target. I'm sure you'll do really well. That's Bob Breckner from the Data Sales Company. If somebody doesn't know about you and they hear this and they say, I need to reach that guy, what's the simplest way to do it?
The best way is to go to our website. It's www.datasales.com and look us up, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
There you are. Call to action from Bob Breckner, and it's Jeremy Geelan for Syscon TV saying thank you, Bob, for talking with us, and thank you for joining us out there on the World Wide Web.